Hey YouTube, welcome to the 1 Minute Barber. This video is all about how to cut the sides of your own hair yourself. My name's Michael Holm, I am a barber with 17 years experience and I'm going to show you the easiest methods possible to cut the sides of your own hair. Now this is my second video on the subject. The first video I put out got a lot of attention and there was a lot of questions asked, so I'm going to try and cover some of those questions in this video. In this video I want to delve deeper into the parietal bone. Understanding the parietal ridge is probably the most fundamental basic thing you could know to lift your haircut from dreadful to something half decent. You look at anybody straight on and you can see that their hair slightly bulges out a little bit here at this area. Now very often a lot of men, when they're getting the haircut, once the hair starts to puff out at the sides, that tends to be when they really want it cut. So if I take my comb and I hold my comb at the side of my head, okay, we can see that this is going straight up the comb and my head is curving over this way, but there's hair sticking out at the side on this ridge. Now I'm going to start this cut in just a moment, but one of the other questions that I've had from a lot of people is, do I have to use a number 2? Because in my first video I used a number 2. The answer is no. You could use a number 3, a 4, a 5, and in fact the longer the number that you use, the easier it's going to be and the more forgiving that it's going to be. I would say though, if you have no experience in cutting hair, then a number 2 is going to be the best number for you to use, because it is forgiving to some extent. If you go down to a number 1 and you make a mistake, it can be glaringly obvious. The same with if you try to do a fade, go down to a 0. Now I do have a fade video. If that's something that you feel ambitious enough to do, I'll put a link at the end of this video. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to use a number 2 because this is a video all about how to cut the sides of your hair for people that don't really know how to cut the sides of your hair. If you're a barber, there may be some information in here that you found useful, so watch on. I have my clipper here set up with my number 2 ready to go. So we want to work straight up the side of the head off the parietal ridge as I showed you earlier with the comb, and the method is to go straight up, straight. Okay, you don't want to go up and curve over the head. Okay, you don't want to curve over the head, that's going to make your head pointy. Okay, you don't want to go out like that. If you're scared of what you're doing and you come in with a clipper and then you just go like that, you know, you go in and then just slightly out like that because you're a little bit worried, well, you're going to make your hair look a little bit like mushroom-like. My advice is there's one way to do this if you're doing this at home and you want it to be easy. And that is to just go directly straight up the side of the head, and it does work. I'm going to show you right now. As I cut away here, I'm going to just describe to you what I'm doing. So the first cut, I've started with the clipper near the front of the head around the temple area, and I start with the guard right down towards the sideburn, and I go straight up the side of the head, completely vertical. Now you need to get these plastic teeth underneath the hair, so it's really important that your guard is flat to the head. As you can see, I'm following what I was talking about earlier. I'm just going straight up. If I start rounding this over, I'm going to change the shape of the haircut. And again, remember, as I was saying, if I don't go up high enough, it's going to leave a mushroom effect. So that little bit there, I held my ear down with my spare hand just to get it out of the way. As you work your way backwards with this, you might find that what you need to do is change yourself into funny positions. But again, whatever you do, wherever you put your hand, try to visualize or remember that straight up technique, that vertical technique. I'm coming round towards the back of the head, and I'm going to talk about the back of the head briefly in a minute or so. But I think that's me happy there with the side of the head. So let's take a look at that side of the head. I don't have a mirror set up or anything, I'm just looking straight into the camera and I'm using the feel of my head to go straight up the side. Okay? You can do this. This is so simple. Okay, as long as you don't get scared. And scared, by being scared, you might go, ooh, I don't want to do that. Ooh, no, that's high enough. I'm scared. You're going to make yourself look like a mushroom. Again, if you're a bit overconfident, you go, oh, I'll just go right up over the top. Well, that's fine if it's your friend's hair, but not your own hair. Okay? Okay, guys. Try and stick with this straight up the side of the head. Okay? I'm going to pull my fringe out of there with the comb. Let's just get that out of the way. Okay, I'm plastering it over there, look a bit like Hitler, but look, I just want to get it out of the way. Okay? Straight up. Straight up again. So that's me, I've cut the sides of my hair. What about the back though? Well, unless you want some kind of dreadful mullet going on, you're going to need to cut the back as well. Okay, so the back, again, you can feel this ridge here, okay? You have a ridge on the back of your head. Now this ridge is actually slightly different. This ridge is called, this is the occipital bone, and it's more pronounced on most people. They feel it is quite pronounced on their head. This occipital bone, it can stick out quite a bit compared to the parietal ridge. So again, we're going to go straight up off the occipital bone. Okay, straight up off the occipital bone. If I take a comb and put that in there, okay, take a comb and put it in there, see that again the head rounds over, but we just want to go straight up off the occipital bone. You don't want to be coming up here onto the crown of the head, okay, up onto the crown with the clipper. Again, that's going to flatten out the head shape on the back of your head. It's one of those things that it makes it look like you don't have eyebrow. You know, if you were to shave your eyebrows off, people would look at you and say, what's wrong with him? But they couldn't quite put their finger on it. Of course, it's because you don't have eyebrows. It just doesn't look right. And it's the same with the crown. So when you're cutting up at the back of the head, when you get to that occipital bone, you just go straight up. Don't follow over onto the crown with the clipper. Okay? We'll keep that long. Keep that long. And that's something you would scissor cut, or you can clipper cut it. If you've seen my how to cut the top video, that's a useful way to go about cutting the top if you can't get to your barber for any reason. So I'll just quickly do the back. Now, I recommend if you're doing this yourself, get the biggest mirrors possible for your own home. I'm going to do it by feel because I've got quite a lot of experience in barbering. But at home, try and get 2 mirrors or get somebody to hold a mirror, and not a small mirror. Get the biggest mirror possible. What about the top though? So I've cut the sides, but what about the top? Well, I've made a video on how to cut the top, and that's going to be linked at the end of this. At the end of this video, there's going to be another link to another video that I've made, which is all about risk assessing your salon for COVID-19. Okay guys, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like and share to anybody you think this might be useful to. Until next time, I've been the 1 Minute Barber, and it's been a pleasure to deliver this video.